good, y'all? Bryant here, and I'm back with another video, man. And today, got something very, very special for y'all, man. As I will be making my AEW All In Texas prediction video. And man, I got some bold predictions for this video. But just to give y'all a quick rundown of some of the key matches taking place at AEW All In Texas. The main event, I'm assuming it's the main event, Heyman Adam Page taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. Just announced on Dynamite as well in a Texas death match, man. I can't wait for that. Then we got Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, taking on the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. And then we got Okada, the AEW Continental Crown Champion, taking on Kenny by God Omega, the AEW International Champion. And many, many more matches to go, man. And I'm excited to make my AEW All In predictions. We're only just 5 days away from Saturday, July 12th. This might be one of the biggest non-WWE shows on American soil. And I'm all in, man. I'm all in. So let's get right into the predictions. So, the first match I will be making my predictions for is the main event of All In Texas, which is Heyman Adam Page taking on Jon Moxley. Now, Heyman Adam Page is the winner of the Owen Cup. He defeated Will Ospreay in one of the best matches in AEW history. And he's moving on to face Jon Moxley, the leader of the Death Riders at All In. And it was just announced on Dynamite it would be a Texas death match. And I mean, I believe Heyman Adam Page he's been in multiple Texas death matches in AEW. So I'm excited to see this match between Heyman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. When you got these two guys in a Texas death match, you know crazy shit is about to happen. But I want to talk about Jon Moxley's title reign for a little bit because, you know, a lot of people have been saying that his title reign wasn't the best. His title reign isn't the best. It's boring. It's the reign of terror, similar to like the Triple H reign of terror in 2003 to 2004. Now, I'm going to say this. His first couple of months as AEW World Champion, I didn't like. It was very, very just lackluster and boring and rotten ass. His feud with Cope could have been so much better. So much better, you know? When you got a guy like Cope and Mox, I feel like they could have done a lot more things with that. But, you know, as time moves forward, I believe that Jon Moxley's title reign is getting drastically better, you know? Besides the couple of months between him and Mox feuding for the championship and them having that lackluster match at AEW Revolution, I think Jon Moxley, his title reign is definitely improving. But I think it's time for Heyman Adam Page to become a two-time AEW World Champion. Heyman Adam Page has been going through so much in AEW, has been feuding with guys like Swerve Strickland and blood feuds at that, and so much more, you know. He's been going through ups and downs, and I think it's finally time for Heyman Adam Page to be back on top as the AEW World Champion. And another reason why I'm predicting Heyman Adam Page to beat Jon Moxley is the simple fact that ever since Jon Moxley has been the World Champion, we haven't seen the actual world title belt on television. It's been inside of this stupid ass briefcase, which I'm not a fan of because AEW has some of the best championships, and especially the AEW World title, man. Now they could debut a new championship if Heyman wins. You know, they could transition into a new era. But even still, if they keep the same championship that they have, man, I just want to see it on television. So I'm predicting Heyman Adam Page to defeat Jon Moxley in the main event of All In Texas. And I'm assuming this is the main event. It could be something else. But my prediction is Heyman and Adam Page beats Jon Moxley and becomes the new AEW World Champion. Now, moving on to the next match I've been making my predictions on is the AEW Women's World Championship match. Mercedes Moné taking on Timeless Toni Storm. Now, when this match was first announced, I said that, I could see Mercedes Moné beating Timeless Toni Storm and becoming the new AEW Women's Champion. But ever since then, my mind has changed a little bit. Because Mercedes is still the TBS champion and she has so many other belts. I just don't see her with the AEW Women's World Championship as well, I feel like if they put the title on Mercedes Moné, they're going to get so much backlash because she has all the fucking women's belts, basically, in pro wrestling, damn near. I think that this feud, it could be a lot better. When you got two women like Mercedes Moné and Timeless Toni Storm, two of the biggest women's stars in AEW right now currently, I feel like they could have done a lot better with this feud and the build up to All In for that match. But, it's not as bad. It's not completely trash, you know what I mean? But like I said, I just don't think that putting the AEW World Championship on Mercedes right now, while she has all these other belts, is the best idea. So I'm going to predict that Timeless Toni Storm retains her title. Now, I can see Timeless Toni Storm walking out as still the champion. I would not have an issue with that. I really wouldn't, because she's literally the biggest star in AEW. She's bigger than Mercedes Moné. And Mercedes Moné was in the WWE. They both was in the WWE, but you know what I mean. I think that she needs to retain her title, and maybe she loses at All Out or the next pay-per-view after that. But I think that it's best that Timeless Toni Storm retains her belt against Mercedes Moné. And I believe that this match is going to be one of the best women's matches in AEW history. When you got two women like Mercedes Moné and Timeless Toni Storm, I don't think, have they faced off against each other before? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this match. And I feel like they can do a lot of great things in this matchup. But my official predictions is Timeless Toni Storm retains her title and defeats Mercedes Moné in an excellent matchup. Moving on to the next match. And this is by far, this got to be one of my most hyped up matches of all time. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. The Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada, taking on Kenny Omega, the AEW International Champion, man. This is the first time these two faced off in American soil. And if I can fact check real quick, if I'm not mistaken, these two men have faced off like 4 times in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I have it right here in my notes, man. Okada won at Wrestle Kingdom 11. Then Omega wins at G1 Climax 2017. The match ended in a draw at Dominion 6-11. And then Omega won at Dominion 6-9. So, these guys have faced off against each other 4 times in New Japan. And technically, if you want to be technical about it, Omega has the upper hand against Okada. Omega has 2 wins to Okada's 1, and then they have this 1 draw, a time limit draw. My prediction is this. I got Okada winning. I got Okada beating Kenny Omega and even the score between the two. I can see Okada, and it can really go either way. It could go, honestly, it can really go either way. Omega could be Okada, or Okada could be Omega. But my prediction is Okada wins and is the new and first ever unified champion. Because, like I said, they fought 4 times, and technically Omega has the upper hand. So I think that the best move is to have Okada beat Omega. And I don't think Omega loses much if he loses to Okada. None of them really loses much because, they're both mega stars in AEW. But I think if they want to continue this, maybe have another match down the line, I would do Okada beating Omega. And technically they're tied 2 wins apiece. I think that's, me personally, that's how I would do it. So that's my official prediction. I'm predicting that Okada beats Omega and is the unified champion. Now, there has been talks online that the unified championship will be pretty much like the secondary title in AEW, which honestly I'm a big fan of. I like that idea. If they were to do a brand split, they have the AEW World Championship and they have the AEW Unified title, and that title looks beautiful. That is one sexy championship belt. So I wouldn't mind them having the Unified Championship as that secondary title, I think that's a good move because they have a lot of top stars. They really do have a lot of top stars. And, potentially, guys like Ospreay and Strickland, they're going to be facing off against the Young Bucks. And if they lose, they can't face for the AEW World title for an entire year. We're going to get to that later on in the video. But say they do lose. If they do lose, hypothetically speaking, they can challenge for a belt like the Unified Champion. They can challenge a guy like Okada for the Unified Championship if it's considered as a secondary belt in AEW. So my predictions is Okada wins and boom. Moving on. The Young Bucks taking on Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. Now, the stipulation for this match is that if the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP titles. They're no longer the executive vice presidents of All Elite Wrestling, and it's going to be up, and it's going to be left to the fans. That's pretty much what I believe Swerve Strickland said. It was Swerve or Will Ospreay. They said if they lose, they're no longer EVPs, and they're going to leave it up to the fans. Now, the Young Bucks fired back and said if Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay loses, they cannot face for the AEW World Championships for an entire year. Now, this has a lot of implications. I've been seeing a lot of people online said, there's no way the Young Bucks lose this match. They can't take away the EVP titles from the Young Bucks. People already saying that Swerve and Ospreay will not be in the world title picture for an entire year. Now, that could be the case. That really could be the case. This really is a 50-50 matchup, in my opinion. But I'm predicting. I'm going bold here. I'm predicting Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay to defeat the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks are no longer the EVPs of All Elite Wrestling, which could transition into a new era of AEW. Me personally, that's what I would do. Now, it doesn't even have to be real. It could be some kayfabe shit. But in storyline, I would have the Young Bucks lose their EVP titles as a work. And then that transitions AEW to a new era. They could possibly do a brand split in the future since they bring in this secondary title and shit. So me personally, if I want to do something big here, I would say fuck it. Swerve and Ospreay beats the Young Bucks. Now, that's a risky move now. That's a real risky move. But I'm going bold, like I said. I'm making a bold ass prediction. Because I don't know, like, either way, if Swerve and Ospreay loses, they could still go after other championships, like, you know, the unified belt, possibly the TNT title. But with the unified belt being, you know, installed at AEW All In, there's not going to be the International Championship or the Continental Crown. So if they were to lose, they have that option. So this is why possibly they could lose, but I'm just going to go bold. I'm going bold, and I'm going to pick the Young Bucks losing their EVP titles and Swerve Strickland and Ospreay winning. Now, I could be dead wrong, but this was a risky prediction, and I'm going to stand on that prediction, man. So moving on, Kyle Fletcher taking on Adam Cole, the TNT champion. Now, Adam Cole has been TNT champion, I believe, for about 2 months now. Maybe a little bit over 2 months. 2-3 months, maybe. His TNT title reign, it hasn't been the best, hasn't been the worst. It's been pretty middle of the pack. He's been a pretty decent champion. And if there's any guy you want to have the TNT title on, your mid-card title on, is Adam Cole. Adam Cole can do pretty much anything. But I think it's time for a new face to hold that TNT championship. And my prediction is Kyle Fletcher is your new TNT champion. I'm a huge fan of Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher, I feel like he should have been won a mid-card title in AEW. You know? But this is now the time. If you want to put a title on Kyle Fletcher, you have him beat a grizzled veteran like Adam Cole and him becoming a new TNT champion. I feel like he could do great things with that TNT title, bring that gold back. I don't even think that it was in the Don Callis family to begin with, if I'm not mistaken. But you could bring home some new gold to the Don Callis family and have Kyle Fletcher as the new TNT champion. I feel like that is the move to do. There's no way in hell Adam Cole retains his title at AEW All In. I think Kyle Fletcher is the best option to become the TNT champion right now. He would be a great mid-card champion. Great mid-card. I'm a big fan of Kyle Fletcher, man. He's really grown on me as a singles competitor. So, I think Kyle Fletcher should and he will beat Adam Cole at AEW All In to become the new TNT champion. Moving on. AEW World Tag Team Championship 3-way matchup. The Hurt Syndicate defending their titles against the Patriarchy and Jet Speed. Now, I'm not even going to lie to you. The Hurt Syndicate title reign, it's just been very, very boring. And I'm just going to be honest with you. It's been boring. Like, yes, they've been destroying tag teams. Yes, it has been a dominant title reign. But it's like they haven't really been in any interesting tag team feuds, to be honest with you. And I think that really has something to do with how the tag team division is right now in AEW. I feel like this is probably the weakest it has been. It's probably the weakest the tag team division has been in AEW for a long time. And that's crazy to think about because AEW, when they first started, they was known for the tag team division. The tag team division was like one of their main focuses. But I don't know what happened in the recent years, man. They just kind of lost focus on the tag team division. Now, my predictions to win this match. Now, I could see Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey becoming the new champs. But I just don't know, man. I just don't know. They're like a makeshift tag team. Like, they work well together. but I feel like they're better off as singles competitors. And the Hurt Syndicate, I just feel like they should just. I feel like it's time for them to drop the belts, and the reason this is a 3-way title is so they could not get pinned, so they could still look and be protected, even if they lose the titles. Me personally, I would throw a swerve in here. I'm predicting this: new champions, the Patriarchy. Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, I feel like they will find some way to walk out of AEW All In Texas as the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. And, the Patriarchy is one of the most, honestly, one of my favorite factions in AEW. And I feel like there's a lot of things they could do with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. I feel like they could hold the titles for a couple of months, and then when they lose, Christian Cage could possibly turn heel on Nick Wayne, then they could do a feud together. There's so many things they could do with the Patriarchy. So I'm predicting that Christian Cage and Nick Wayne walk out All In as the new champions. And I don't think that Hurt Syndicate are going to take the pinfall. I feel like they're going to pin either Kevin Knight or Speedball Mike Bailey. So that's my official predictions for this tag team title matchup. Moving on. The AEW All In Texas Men's Casino Gauntlet match. Now, I believe the first 3 participants that we know for sure are in this match is Mark Briscoe, MJF, and Mystico. Now, I was thinking MJF would be the perfect guy to win this match. And, the winner of this casino's match, the winner of both men's and women's casino matches will go on to earn a future AEW World title shot. So I felt like, if there's any way to get MJF back into that AEW World title picture, is to have him win this men's casino gauntlet match and move on to face Heyman Adam Page after he gets done with Jon Moxley. But something came in my head. There has been a guy that we haven't seen in forever in AEW. One of AEW's homegrown talent. One of AEW's top stars. And that guy is Darby Allin. Darby Allin. I am predicting this. Darby Allin returns at AEW All In and wins the Casino Gauntlet match. As the Joker, I feel like, it's the Joker, right? Darby Allin will make his return at AEW All In Texas and win the Casino Gauntlet match and go on to face Heyman Adam Page potentially in the future for the AEW World title. I think that's a good move to do. We've only seen Darby Allin versus Heyman Adam Page once, and that was last year. And Darby Allin got the pinfall victory over Heyman Adam Page. So there's a story right there that they could do. So yeah, man, that's a bold prediction too, man. That's a really, really bold prediction. We haven't seen Darby Allin in forever. And I feel like AEW All In Texas is the perfect place for Darby Allin to make his return, man. So that is my prediction. Moving on to the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. Now, like I said before, the winner of these Casino Gauntlet matches will go on to get a future AEW World title shot for both the men's and women's division. And it was really hard for me to make my predictions for this match. But, I was thinking maybe somebody like Jamie Hayter could win, or, Thunder Rosa, or, it's I don't know. It's really hard with the AEW Women's Division right now because, it's not really the best at the moment, but it's not the worst. I just went with a newer talent that most recently made her debut in AEW, which is Tekla. I think Tekla could win the AEW Women's Casino Gauntlet match and go on to face Timeless Toni Storm And I feel like that would be a good matchup for Timeless Toni Storm if she beats Mercedes Moné at All In. I feel like Tekla versus Timeless Toni Storm could be a very, very good feud. You know, when Tekla made her debut, I was really impressed, man. She looked really good, and I feel like she has a lot of potential in AEW. Now, I'm not saying she goes on to beat Timeless Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship, but I feel like that would be a good matchup for Timeless Toni Storm coming off, you know, a win over Mercedes Moné. So my prediction is Tekla wins the Casino Gauntlet match and gets a future AEW Women's World Championship shot. And that's pretty much all my predictions for AEW All In Texas. Now, there could be more matches announced this week at the Go Home show on Dynamite, but so far, these are all the matches confirmed. So, hey man, there's all the matches that's going to be in my predictions video. Let me know y'all predictions in the comments down below, man. Let me know who y'all think would win at AEW All In. Let me know who y'all think could return, make their debut at AEW All In. But hey man, that's pretty much it. There's only one thing left to say. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And that's the bottom line. Because Bryant 316 said so.